And a good morning, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Easter.
Happy Lent.
Happy Lent. Okay, Happy Lent.
That's why I was so angry last night, Lanny. Lent
Already?
started last night about 7 o'clock.
I know.
There's no more Diet Mountain Dews or anything like that.
That could be harsh,
bud.
bud.
I'm just an angry person right now.
Yeah, you got to hate it when that happens. I do.
It's a good thing for
stevia. I've done Lent a number of years, even though that's not a thing in the Baptist church.
Right.
When I was teaching youth Sunday school, we did it. We did it in Sunday school.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I felt like it was a good lesson for kids to understand.
Yeah, sure.
And we took a year. And I didn't use the book. We took a year and we explored all the denominations, all the different religions of the world. And I think my wife, which she sat in the class with us, I think she was stunned by some of the things that I revealed to her that she didn't know about some of the other things.
Isn't that great? I mean, what's amazing is in my lifespan, in places we've lived, in denominations, I've been Presbyterian, Southern Baptist, Baptist, Methodist, and now I'm a Lutheran. So I've got the whole service thing down. I know exactly what to do, when to stand, and what to say. But what was so interesting to me about becoming a Lutheran is that it's actually where the Star Wars, a lot of the symbolism that comes from the Jedis. And I didn't know that.
Really?
Yeah, and it says, may the force be with you. And as a Lutheran, you stand up and say, and also with you.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay.
That'll go a long way in your church.
Moving on. I told Pastor Yoder, he said, that's awesome.
Pastor Yoda?
Yoder.
Oh.
But I have referred to him as that. Even though he's 6'19".
One of my friends from high school, his dad was the pastor at Cedar Grove Lutheran up in Vail.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to always call him Father Jernigan because he always had the collar on.
That's fantastic.
Milton, good morning. Richie, good morning. Milton said, you drinking already? No, but it's never too soon to start. Richie said, you should find Zion Williams' Mardi Gras float. Someone made a float poking fun of the Pelicans in Zion.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that's one of those topics that, and I hope that everybody's wrong, but he could be one of the biggest busts since J.R. Reed. How about that? Remember J.R. Reed that amounted to nothing?
Yeah. Well, he's Carolina, so you got to sit there and use the, you got to stick it in a little bit.
I know.
Turn that knife. I know.
Well,
where's Andrew?
Andrew's. I don't think Andrew's up yet. He's
the
not
bull
here
has
yet.
to be.
Now
fed.
let me tell you.
The bull has.
Let me tell you a bull story. Okay, we were Tuesday night. We were at Don's.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And in he walks, the bull. I said, "Bull, come here." And he walked over there to me, grinning, and I rubbed his belly, and I said, "Bull, that thing feels empty, bud. You need something." He said, "I'm hungry."
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt.
I said, "Who are you with? Who are you here with?" And he said, "Well, my dad and my grandma."
Yep.
I said,
Suzette.
"Thank God it's not your brother because he can't afford to feed you. I've seen you on a night with your brother. That don't turn out good." Brandon Eichert said Greg Oden was the biggest recent bust. And Andrew's here. Good morning, Andrew.
Yeah. I'm here. I'm here. That's a good point, though, Brandon brought up about Oden. He, it's kind of like Sam Bowie. You look at a guy that, for whatever reason, I mean, the talent obviously was, was there and abundant and very efficient as a player. But then at that next level, it just couldn't be put all together for whatever reason, whether it be injury or psychological issues or whatever.
I'm not an NBAer, so somebody will have to help me with this one.
Right.
Adam something that was drafted by the Hornets had the kind of weak black mustache, dark-headed. He was a power forward. Cannot think of his last name, and he didn't pan out either. And even Anthony Davis has not really panned out because he can't stay healthy. And sometimes I wonder, and this is a bad way to look at it, I guess, but Adam Morrison from Gonzaga, that's exactly right. When I look at it, sometimes I wonder if certain athletes have it in them to push through what's going on.
Through their current circumstance,
I mean, you go back and you look at it, and I'm going to go NFL here, but you look at Butkus and Lambert and, a lot of those guys that they were always injured, but you never knew it.
No,
they shot up, hit the hot tub in the ice. Jordan was
a great example. He never set out or asked to sit a game to save his legs or anything. Now,
and that stuff, taking nights off.
I mean, come on. It's just kind of, I think we've gotten to a point where science is almost a religion, like, for health and things like that, instead of it being a tool. My faith is my religion, right? Science is a tool to help me understand things. And I'm talking about sports science. I'm not talking about the coronavirus.
Okay.
I'm not going down that rabbit hole. But the point is science is a tool, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's played to meet the narrative of the situation as an athlete, and that may or may not be okay. Things are what they are. But, man, sometimes the grit and determination and perseverance seem to be the things that get you over the top versus the one-and-done paycheck. There's a lot of younger players that are going to the NBA, even Major League Baseball, through the draft, all right, and of course to NFL football that are their only motivation
is money.
Now, I'm not criticizing. I'm saying that's the difference.
Hard to last.
And there is no sustainability with that because you can't do the measurables and have the intangibles to succeed long term if it's only about that. If that's the sole motivation, it's like getting up and going to work. People say, "Why?" You ask somebody, "Well, why do you go to work?" Well, I go to work to make money. That's you can make money doing anything in this world. You know what I'm saying? It's about it's about satisfaction and helping other people and being a part of something. Oh my God!
I don't. See, I say that all the time. A lot of people think that I'm kidding. I'm like, I don't work for money. I can make money.
Right.
I got to have something else there. I mean,
I
I can do a lot of things and make money, and it not.
Lanny, look at the value you bring to this. I'm gonna brag. I don't care. I'm going to. The things that you do for this community, the people around, whether it be Lincoln County, Catawba, or beyond, with what you've done just alone with the T-shirts.
Yeah.
Not to mention the coaching you've done, the investment into kids. Those are the things that you don't look back on and say, well, how much money did I make on that? Because
as long as I made a living, I'm okay.
Holy cow. God, it's the Lord will provide if the intent to help is there, to help others and be positive and beneficial. They may not understand it while you're doing it, and sometimes it may be tough love, but as long as the intent is there to try to do the right thing and make them the best they can be long term, that can't be argued with. And you receive an abundance because of that. Mm-hmm. And just because. The whole thing with the with the players, I understand, and I hear the stories, and we see they do a great job, educating us on, where players come from, some of the circumstances they're involved in, the perseverance, things they have to go through, but then it becomes about just the money, and I don't want that. I just don't want that to be the only thing that motivates them, and I have no control of that. But what I'm saying is just. There's so much more to what you can do if you put everything you've got into what you're doing, because then it will flow back to you, and you can do 10 times more than you thought you could just based off a check.
Give me a minute. I'm probably going to have to take a break in just a second, but any of you guys right there listening may know this. A guy that I graduated high school with, his name's Mike Caskey, just passed away. Mike had a number of strokes. We went and visited with him a couple of years ago. He had a number of strokes back in December. Then he got COVID, and the last that I'd heard, within the last week, he had been placed at Wendover Hospice up in Shelby. And Mike's my age. He was my quarterback. He was our quarterback when we came through. We were captains. We were team captains when we came through school, elementary school, everything. But, folks, live every day because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. You make sure that you do the things that you need to do, get your priorities in order, because you just don't know. I'm going to take a break.
Sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with department staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. And welcome back. Well, I'm getting used to this board, and then I'm going to replace it. That's the way it usually goes.
Of course.
I can get schooled sometimes. Sometimes I can't. Thank you, Mikey. I don't know if Mikey's announced that opening date. I got to get him some things. Opening up your car wash down here on the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I saw a lot of people in that on, I believe, Saturday.
Mm-hmm. They're trying to get everything ready.
Absolutely.
Trying to get everything ready.
Fantastic.
Let me hit a couple headlines. Let's see what we got going on here today. Russia has been banned from the Paralympics in an IPC reversal, as it should be. Boeheim says successor plan is in place. Does that mean that he's going to retire? Jim Boeheim?
Yep.
I'm thinking that his kids are finished now. I think both his boys, didn't he have 2 boys?
Yeah.
He said Wednesday there's a plan in place for when he steps down. He did not reveal any details of the arrangements. because that could have an effect on recruiting.
Right.
He said the university will decide when to make it public and expects to have input on the selection of his replacement. He is 77, second winningest coach in D1 history, 997 wins behind Mike Krzyzewski, is nearing the end of his 46th season. And I want to say, I'm trying to think where he started. He didn't start at Syracuse, I don't think. But, boys, he's been in there. But here's when you know when it's time to go. Syracuse does not need to be 15-15. Syracuse is not a 500 team with the history, the tradition, but things change. And, of course, the other side of it is the ACC is really down this year.
Yeah,
David and him think that there'll be 6 getting the team and get into the tournament.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure.
I mean, but the thing about it is it's been watered down so bad, especially with one and dones, that there's no continuity that can be built except in a situation like people that adhered to the process like Gonzaga or and it's happening to Kentucky too. They'll be good 3 out of 4 years, and that 1 year they're even below competitive. Kansas seems to do a pretty good job of building a little better long term. But it's just very tough on all of the the coaches in the landscape and the set of rules, and you have to adhere by them and get play with what play with the rules given. But man, it has really made college basketball like used to. I guarantee when you were a kid and I was a kid, we could name all the players on our favorite team, and then our 3 biggest rivals that we didn't like, we could name all those players too.
Yep.
Like,
now you can't name anybody.
Yeah, I mean, now you're like, when did that guy come here? Or where's he from? Or who?
And there
who
used to be
that?
players. Wake Forest, I always thought, was notorious for having kids that played 6 and 7 years because it seemed like they'd been there forever.
Absolutely,
they'd play 4 years and start for 4 years.
Yeah,
I'm still of the thought that college basketball programs that could change their philosophy a little bit and not go get that 5-star McDonald's recruit that they're pretty sure is going to stay for a year and get a kid that's maybe going to stay 3. You may not shoot for the title every year, but about every 3 years you're going to be a serious contender. And if you look, the one-and-done teams are not the ones that's eating up the titles. It's the teams that have continuity and have had kids that have played together and matured.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. I think you can see it in the recruiting world. The biggest part of the recruiting trip is going into the the film room, the camera room, and putting on that team's jersey, and then them displaying your name all over it with your Ohio State or your Gardner Webb jersey. You know what I'm saying, on campus, instead of looking in and saying, okay, what is most important to you, as a program? What do you see I can contribute? And vice versa. What's most important to me as far as what I'm getting out of this? None of that is even hardly discussed. The majority of the time spent putting all this, gear on and, the jersey and taking the picture and putting it on, Instagram. And that's the world we live in. That's fine. But one thing, and I tell my kids this all the time, I say, boys, times will change. Things will change. Ways of doing things may change. But no matter how much time goes by and things change and ways change, right is always right and wrong is always wrong. And the process will always triumph over the stylistic side of things. And that's where everything is going right now, in my opinion. Now, will there be a redirect at some point because this is not sustainable long term? Investment is being put into people that are giving you 1 or 2 years of something instead of the 4 to 6 years. That is not sustainable long term. That is how markets crash. And I'm not just talking about stocks. I'm talking about just
anything,
any kind of
any
market.
type of business in general,
because it's not sustainable. And I will tell you this: I am a firm believer that substance creates its own style. All right, and right now, that is not happening. They're losing viewership with the younger people. Nobody under the age of 30, and I mean nobody, watches a Major League Baseball game, even kids, on TV, because it's horrible. Ball 1 to the batter. A little timeout, fans on the field.
Well, the problem that has happened to baseball now, Juju and I talked about this yesterday, and we'll get into it just a little bit. We looked yesterday when we were talking about where the negotiations are. You've got the lowest salary is around $40 million. The highest payroll is around $230 million. And until baseball fixes that, and until they stop giving 10-year, $400 million contracts, it's never going to stop. You got to pay. The players are complaining now because they don't want to pay the veterans. They want to bring in a young kid and develop him. Well, maybe that makes the team better. Yep. It's about making the team better.
So in the way the world can work efficiently is you have employers and you have employees.
Yeah, that's getting blurred.
Okay. What's happening is the people that are taking the risk and buying the team, okay, and producing jobs for thousands of people within these professional organizations are being chastised because they're not sharing the wealth. Okay, number one, are we going to do the little red hen thing all over again? Is that what we're going to do? I planted the wheat. Just come on. At what point, if you own something, you say, I'm the owner, and this is what you're going to get paid. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. Now, that doesn't
go play in the other professional baseball league.
That doesn't mean that you don't fairly compensate, because the one thing that's always brought about, is how Branch Rickey and all the ones would not pay people, or better yet, Kami, from the black, the White Sox, Mr. Kaminsky, he wouldn't pay his people. He would set them out not to pay him bonus. I'm not talking about that. That is wrong.
Yeah.
But you can reach fair and reasonable assumptions and compensation through conversation and still have the employer and the employee have that relationship, just like I have with the people that work with and for me, just like you do. Maybe if you have rental property and you have tenants, how do you perceive them? Do you perceive them as just people that pay you money, or are you invested in them and their growth and development and the relationship that you have with them that rent the property from you? There's a right way to do things. The problem with this is things are so wrong that they're having a hard time getting it right. And just because you agree on something doesn't make it right. Sometimes you agree to kick the can down the road, i.e. government, instead of addressing the matters most important to the people directly involved. Any owner worth their weight in gold understands this, whether it's a business, a small business, or a large cap team. They know this. If you invest time and effort into the people, all right, that help build your business and make your business quality, then you will be okay as far as taking care of them, and then you'll be okay as well. People that try to skimp every penny and say, well, the fee on this is too high, you're not looking at the quality and value of things, and that's the problem.
The other thing that baseball doesn't do that the NFL does do, and I don't know about the NBA, but Juju talked about yesterday, they have a ceiling and a floor. Not only do you have a ceiling, but you got to spend money. If you don't spend X amount of money,
then you
can't play. And that's where you shouldn't have that discrepancy of 40 to 230.
No, but again, in an open market, to your point, you're exactly right, because the league itself has to have generalized rules.
Well, it's got to have some competitiveness.
That's what I'm saying. A small market team like the Oakland A's cannot compete. A great example is Moneyball. Moneyball, the movie. That small market team, from a payroll standpoint, cannot compete with Boston or the Yankees, which is the example I think they use in the movie. Okay, that's very true. So why is everything so skewed in between?
Oh, I know.
Either Oakland needs to pick it up, or you're going to need to limit the market share of the other one in order to get parity of some kind.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I know it ain't working right now because they're not playing baseball.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the other thing, and this is the other part, this is going to be another setback and another black eye, because, anytime there's a professional sports strike and it's over money, but the amounts of money that's being paid in baseball, people are not going to be able to associate with it. They can't comprehend. They can't get on board with you on that one.
Yeah.
And in baseball, the other thing with baseball is another sport that refuses to evolve. For the betterment of the game, for the betterment of the spectators. I mean, I'm sorry we can't live in 1923, okay? But it doesn't work that way. You've got to evolve. I've always said you either change or die. because you
Adapt or die. You're exactly
you've
right.
got to. You don't have
exactly
any choice. And it comes from a business. If you can't adjust your business to the changing market,
Right.
the changing demands, the changing suppliers, just like what we're going through now, if you just wad up and, if you go get in a fetal position in the corner and get mad about it, you're not going to make it.
Right. And let me give you a great example of what you're saying, okay? And I will very rarely talk business on the show, but for the business I'm in, for example, what I meet and talk with and think about constantly, either with the team that I have, at Stiefel or at the back office, our experts. A couple weeks ago I was out there and I asked the same question. What's the industry look like 8 to 10 years down the road, and what changes are coming that maybe I can start incorporating now to make things more efficient for my clients, provide, even enhanced services on things, and to make the overall experience better so they can end up reaching, their goals. What can I do now? I do that when I'm coaching kids. I do that as a father. Try to do it as a husband.
It's about preparation.
Right. Preparation meaning opportunity. People talk about luck. That's not luck. That's cashing
You
in on
make your luck.
investment. That's it, man.
I'm a believer that I believe in breaks, but I think you make your breaks because of all the seeds that you planted.
Right.
That's where they come from.
You're 100% right. And I will tell you, having won a state championship, okay, all right, as a coach, I can tell you that it's not about the luck and the way the ball bounces. Okay, it's about outworking anybody else through any kind of circumstance that you're presented with, all right? And what I mean by outworking is being efficient and smarter than the obstacles that you face and making sure that your kids are developing at a rapid but yet steady, acceptable rate to their growth and development, okay, and pushing the issue beyond what they can do. Constantly challenging them every day in practice, dive for every ball. We were going to the state championship. We slide head first into every base every day. We practice that, okay? First base included, okay? So you should never slide head first. You slow down. Okay, geniuses, then why do people dive for footballs when they're thrown to them instead of just running through them? So don't ever tell me that it slows you down. It does if you don't know how to slide.
Right.
But I can tell you Brandon Eichert knows how to do it. Because he did it every friggin' day for 4 years, okay? My point is when that preparation meets opportunity, you outwork everybody else. The harder you work, the harder it is for you to lose. We practiced at 8 o'clock at night when it was 27 degrees, and when it was 99 degrees down in Raleigh, it was nothing to them because they had been through it. They had been trained. Instead of me pacifying them and giving them suckers in between breaks at practice, basically, I had my foot stuck up their rear end and pushed them even harder. My job was to make them break. And the whole point to this is you've got to outwork your people. It's not about the way the ball bounces. It's about you and your process and having the mindset to achieve greatness and not let anything or any obstacle, which I had a lot of them, let me tell you, okay? That's a conversation for another day. Not let any obstacle overcome that.
But everything in life is about obstacles, and it's how you address them and handle them on whether you become successful for the next day.
Right. My focus, the number one goal we had was not winning games. It was winning a state championship. And I backed everything back down into what it took that. If we needed to win the conference to get there, fine, or whatever we needed to do. I didn't care.
Right.
Just wanted to qualify for the playoffs, whatever we needed to do, and set the team up to be able to win the championship. That's why a lot of my younger kids got to play a lot, and we lost some games non-conference-wise, but I was preparing them for the ultimate battle in case they ever had to come in that situation. They were ready. Yeah. That is the issue that instant gratification in society today does not understand about process and how to achieve greatness throughout a time, no matter what you do, whether it be in sports, as a husband and father, or in business.
Everything is the same. It's just the mechanics of it is different.
Absolutely.
But everything's the same. Link said that NASCAR is a good example of that, and that's why NASCAR is dying because they do not adapt. They do not adapt, and it's starting to come. And Link said team no longer matters, and it doesn't. It's just a group of individuals instead of a team. That's the way it's looked at. Todd said, "4 is that ball Quinn hit the other day. Is it landed? Anything that travels that far ought to have a stewardess."
Yeah, he got a pretty good
Milton
shot.
says, "How many players are still being paid by the Yankees?" because they cut them, and it's because those guaranteed contracts.
They pay
but
them
the
to go play
NFL's going
somewhere
that way
else.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, NFL's going that way. Richie said Charlie Hustle knew how to slide. He'd take you out.
That's the way we slid head first.
Yeah, he'd take you out. It didn't even bother him.
Yeah,
A couple more headlines. The Dolphins are out of the market for Deshaun Watson.
Yep. Saw that yesterday.
They're saying Chris Greer, general manager, says not going to happen for them. They're going to build around Tua, which I don't think that gets them anywhere either. But we'll see where that goes. And Lovie Smith, new head coach of the Texans, we'll see where that goes. Would Deshaun be willing to stay? And I'm missing something, I guess. I thought there was supposed to be something going on in February to kind of resolve this with the 9 civil suits. Wasn't there a date in February or something? And nothing happened. Yeah. So I'm wondering what's going to go on there.
I really like Lovie Smith.
I do too.
Like as a person, I mean, coach,
no.
obviously he's a good coach, but I mean, as a person, I mean, what a great guy. You can't find anything anybody say anything remotely. Yeah, he's just what a great guy.
No, I just
good. Good for him. Congratulations.
I just think Lovie was kind of like some other coaches. He was in situations that it didn't really matter what he did. It was only so much that he could achieve. I mean,
it's kind of like going
the Bears.
It's kind of like
the Bears.
It's kind of like trying to go grab a rope over here and swing on it, just to play.
Yeah.
But your fists are taped up and you can't quite get a hold of it.
Yeah.
You keep, I mean, golly, hopefully they can do some things to rebuild down there, keep Watson if things do work out or whatever. And
you just don't know
back.
You don't know how much it was the head coach as much as it is the organization and management inside the organization that might be the problem.
I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. I think the draft this year, you talking about the organizations and how they do things, the head coach. What's interesting to me this year is how many DBs and offensive linemen are going to be drafted in the NFL. I really think that, and again, this is just me reading. I don't have any whatever, but just looking at it and listening to the way the narratives are going, there's a lot of potential for a tremendous amount of DBs and offensive linemen to be taken this year in the draft. And there's some questions about how high the kid from Michigan, the great defensive end, is going to.
I think they're looking at him.
I mean, there's a lot of projections. Number one, and then there's some that go all the way to like 12 based on just certain things that were. It's always interesting to talk about and look at. And what's crazy is somebody like L.A. or like the Rams or New England will draft somebody from some school that nobody's even thought about or heard of, and then they end up becoming an All-Pro. I mean, it's just really interesting to watch.
Well, it goes back.
Follow.
It goes back and shows you that they're looking for a little more depth in the players. It doesn't really matter what colors you wore.
Yeah, the
I'm
wow
not
factor
interested in that.
matter.
I want to look at Josh Allen.
Right.
Everybody missed on that one except the Bills.
I mean, but I remember this like it was yesterday. I'm sitting there looking at this kid. He is huge, and his arm is just amazing. They say, well, his accuracy really ain't that good. And I'm thinking he runs a 4.5.
Yeah.
They're like, well, all of a sudden running in the NFL didn't matter. Then it was about being a pocket passer, but yet it matters for everybody else. And I thought, you know what? That's the dude you want on your team because he's going to play with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And he's so big that he's kind of like Tebow. He don't care who's in front of him. He's going to run you over.
Yeah. Except he can throw.
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry. And I like Tebow.
I have some real reservations about the analysis on Tim Tebow because the one intangible that he has that is very rare is he was a winner and a champion, and in my opinion was never given that opportunity to be that because somebody else was
the
always
NFL wouldn't
better.
change
Because he didn't fit the narrative,
the prototypical
right
quarterback.
And instead, but and then when things came along, it's almost like it was too late. Now, again, I'm not saying he was an all-pro. I'm saying the opportunity was different for him than most other people. There's two ends on that spectrum.
Yeah.
An opportunity meets somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
We've had other players that, kind of got shunned for other things too, that maybe didn't get the opportunity. It's just whatever, man.
Of all the things that my wife chimes in about, do not be bad-mouthing Tim Tebow. Okay, that's it.
I'm
that's
tell you what,
that's
he's
the
a
only
good
comment.
dude, man.
I like Tim Tebow.
You're so funny. Quinn took his hat down to him. We were at Crawdad Stadium, and he was playing.
Mm-hmm.
We went to the game when they were there that one night, and of course they didn't allow anybody in. They had a set of rules, for batting practice. Nobody come to the stadium. Of course, was able to get in there and watch him because I really want to see Tim Tebow, so I called it a favor. But anyway, just being funny. But just to look at him and watch him and how he interacted with the teammates and, the younger kids. He's 10, 11 years older than most of those guys, right? He was really good with them, and they'd make fun of him and mock him, and he'd chase them, and it was just really cool. But before the game, Quinn made his way all the way down from where we were over to the visitors' dugout. And Tebow was walking back he wasn't in the bullpen, but the bullpen area, and walking back. And Quinn hollered at him and said, "Hey, will you sign my hat?" And of course, there was everybody like he walked right over there and signed that hat and like 3 others, and then went out there and ran out to left field and played. Mm-hmm. It was really, he's just a good guy.
Yeah. Bobby Bonilla, Richie says, will be the only one being paid. But now,
Bobby Bonilla's a genius.
But that's right. He said, just give me $1 million a year for 30 years.
Dude, how smart.
Why would you not do that?
He's so smart.
Yes.
I applaud him.
Yes.
God.
That's amazing.
What a great business
That's amazing.
move.
And Richie, I saw that also. One of I want to say Kuiper's draft has got that. One of the new mock drafts has got an offensive lineman from State.
Yeah, he's
going as
that
the
kid
overall
is really good.
pick. Yeah, I saw that too.
Mark Alton, when Mark is on here, I'm sure he can comment more about that kid from State. Being in that area, of course, being a State fan, whatever. But some of the film that I saw, video this past weekend when I was just sitting in the hotel room, going through the channels, they had that kid on there. I tell you, Lanny, he's pretty good, man.
Yeah. Two final comments, and Ford's got to get out here, and I do too. Stacy said, I think Tebow would still be playing if he didn't have if he hadn't stood up for his Christian faith. That's one thing, because it didn't fit what the NFL wanted to do. And Milton said Tebow's religion is why the media hates him. That I don't know as much as they hate him, Milton, as much as it created cliques to make it an issue.
Yeah, well, that's very spot on. And I think the thing is people generally don't like people they don't agree with, and they put it out in their face.
Yep.
And Tim doesn't really put things out, I wouldn't say in people's face as much as he puts it out there. Like, he doesn't direct it at certain people. He directs it where everyone has the option to read, listen, follow, right? It's not, his is not narrative based, so much as it is. You say, what's a Christian narrative? No, it's about delivering the message and not just a message. And I think that's the difference with him. That's why so many people follow him.
I'll go out with one really bad comment. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
When you said that, here's what made me think of, and my wife will chime in when I say this because it involves her. He didn't do it in your face. It was just a matter of who he was.
Yeah.
Okay. He wasn't specifically making a point of it to you as much as this is who I am and I'm this way 24/7.
Absolutely.
Okay. Same thing. Rich said Tebow doesn't single people out. He talks to everyone.
Right.
The same thing with me. When I get upset and I say bad words, I'm not directing them at my wife. She just happens to be in the room. I'm just exhibiting my displeasure with things. So there you go. That's my Tebow message for today. Yeah. Have a happy post-Ash Wednesday. May see you tomorrow. I have to talk to the professor. Have a good day, guys. See you.